Okay, everyone, we're back again, and my next guest is Holly Wyder. And Holly apparently has known me for half of her life.
Yep.
She started taking singing lessons from me when she was 14 years old, and since then, Holly has been involved in so many things that I've done at the studio. You were in like the first rent, the
Yep. Yep.
second rent, right? You were also in cabaret.
Yep.
Were you Dressy
Did like
Shepherd?
all the Broadway bounds, like
All the Broadway bound shows,
5 or
exactly. You should
6
do
of
lots of
them.
stuff. Lots of
Yeah.
across the universe.
Yep. And the Michael Jackson one.
Man in the Mirror,
Yep.
exactly, because that's when I got Steph Phillip to write the script
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That was pretty cool, and you got to do some cool stuff. We got you to do all that stuff. Oh my gosh, the funniest one I think I remember to this date is "This Sucks to Be Me." That's my favorite one.
Which one?
It sucks to be me.
Oh, it sucks to be me. Yes.
I love that one. That's my
Yeah.
favorite to date, even though it's so inappropriate and it's so
So
bad.
bad.
So bad, but it's so fun. So fun. But anyway, Holly, it's been great. It's so great to see you, sweetheart. And I've been keeping an eye on you on Instagram and all that kind of stuff because you were like you're a sharer. You like
Yep.
to share.
I am
And
overshare maybe, but
tell us about the life before the pandemic and the life after. So tell us what's going on before that and what happened when it started happening. Okay.
cool. Yeah. So 2019 was like a very successful year for me. I got to do the solo show that I've been meaning to do for a while at the Fringe. We won Patrons Pick, then got picked up and did it at the Factory. So that was a very big, long year. And then I lucked out at the end of last year and ended up filming like 3 commercials back to back. So that was like very.
Speaking of commercials, people, you don't understand how popular she is.
No, I was on the Super Bowl, but whatever. I don't watch sports.
It's pretty exciting. I looked at first of all, I didn't see the commercial, and my son sent me, Denise, Mom, I'm not Denise, doesn't call me Denise. Mom, is that Holly Wyder on the commercial? I went, what? And then all of a sudden, like, you were on every time there was a break, you were on.
Yeah. 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 My mom was pretty
I want your
excited.
autograph next time I see you.
Sure, sounds great. Not sure it's worth anything, but yeah. So I booked a few of those commercials, which was great. Became a union actor, so like 2019 was a great year for me career-wise. And then the beginning of last year or this year, wow, 2020. I was kind of taking it easy and just planning on like, because last year was very career-driven. I wanted this to be a very personal growth year, so I was intending to go on a trip with my partner to the UK, which obviously is not happening. So I was working on planning for that, and then basically I was also in pre-production for a film that's based off of the solo show that I wrote, that we're intending to pitch to networks for a series.
That's so exciting, Holly. Oh my God, so exciting. Yay.
Yeah. So that's on pause right now, because obviously, but I'm working with a wonderful producer, Shannon McNally, who's also a good friend of mine, and a couple of my friends. My director is actually cast in it as well, Amanda Cordner, and she's brilliant. And Liz Whitmere is directing. Anyway, so once we get to after this, we're hopefully going to go forward with that because it's a very good script. I already have a couple production companies interested, so that's exciting. So really I was focusing on getting that film up. And now that, I've been off for a month because I work in the restaurant industry when, I'm not acting because art is so hit and miss. I'm not working. And so I've just been actually taking a break, Denise, which you know me. And my mom even was like, Holly, I don't think you've ever like chilled. She's like, you in between college and you're like first year college and second year college, you did like 3 shows and produced your own musical. Like, yeah, what's wrong with that? She's like, you don't know how to stop. So I'm actually taking time for myself, and
that's really good, Holly.
Yeah,
that's very good.
Yeah, but because I have so much time and I'm used to doing things, I am still like finding the joy in art again. So I'm like picking up the guitar and actually learning how to play it as opposed to just playing chords. I'm currently taking an online drawing course. I don't know if you can see. I'm learning to sketch.
Not quite, but that's better. Yeah.
So I'm learning to sketch just because it's a nice like tactile thing to be doing. And I'm keeping in contact with a lot of friends, which I always do. Like I'm very good at keeping in contact with people, but I find because of the situation, and so many of my friends work in the restaurant industry, even though they're not artists, and they're not working, so they have so much time. I'm able to actually have full hour conversations with them on the phone, which I never did before. So it is, even though it's not expected, it's still a year of personal growth in that sense of like developing my relationships with the people that I really care about.
That's fantastic, and I'm good. I'm glad that you're taking care of yourself. That's a very good thing. I think that's one of the things that, the past interviews that I've done, we talked about that, like we're talking about not being so hard on yourself, especially if you want to take a day off and not do anything, you should
Yeah.
have those days. That's
Yeah.
what, I just remembered something about the fact that you were like, how old when you directed me?
Oh yeah, I was so it was going into my it was after my last year of college, so it would have been 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is insane because also like I don't ever think of myself as a director, and I forget that I did direct that piece, and For One Only as well. But I have I don't have any passion for directing. I know a lot of actors who are like, I'm going to act and direct, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I forget that I actually did. And I did enjoy that. It was really fun. That was such a interesting, like, it was so funny because it was like, you've been training me for however long, and then then I was in charge, and I was like, I'm so intimidated. Denise is so good.
No, and you know what? I learned a great deal. Like it was funny because it was during the time of doing
Yeah.
Drowsy Chaperone and that at the same time. So I was like back and forth all the time. But it made me do something that I haven't done for a long time and been a very dramatic role and get to sing the tearjerker song at the end, and I get to cry every night and make people cry. But
Yeah.
it was lovely, and it's such a short, like small cast that it was really great to able to do that. So I'm really glad I got to do that. That was fun.
Yeah, I was very, very happy that I did that, especially in Thunder Bay, because it was a lot more accessible. And I think Thunder Bay has actually been a very good, like launching point for, I mean, a lot of artists, and I'm sure a lot of people you're interviewing, but like it was such a community driven art scene there that I felt so comfortable that I was able to produce my own show. Whereas like in Toronto, I'm so intimidated. The only shows I've produced were with the Fringe because I got a spot in the lottery. So as far as like any other show that I've done, it's always been in Thunder Bay because I feel comfortable and like I have that community there.
Yeah, you got
so I was able to start with that. And so I learned a lot about producing and directing and things that I would never have done if I like grew up in the city, because it's just so competitive here, and it's so hard to get people to see shows in Toronto because there's so many things that people can check out.
It's just like anything. I think sometimes if you're like a performer and you have no place to play or to perform, it's really nice to be able to have an area that you can do that with and practice your pipes and make sure that you are keeping active with what you're doing, right? Yeah. So as far as things that you're trying to do to make yourself busy, is there times where you're feeling when you're the lowest and when you're the highest?
Mm-hmm.
So what is that?
Yeah, I mean, like, on top of the pandemic, I'm also going through a breakup, so that's fun.
Was that the person you were supposed to go to England with?
No.
Okay.
Aside from my personal life, I'm polyamorous, so I'm dating multiple people. But one of my partners who does live in Toronto, Alan, lives outside of Toronto, so I don't get to see him. But yeah, I'm dealing with that. So a lot of my lows are feeling like I don't exist, which is hard in this world when we can't actually go out and see people physically, because that's exactly what it is, on top of not feeling like I exist in his world anymore. So that's a lot of my lows specifically. It's unfortunately that's not it's not affecting my art so much. I'm still able to do that. But yeah, it's been very difficult. A lot of nights in bed crying, but I have amazing support in Toronto, which, I've spent the last 8 years, oh my God, 8 years. I've been here for 8 years, building, which, I think a lot of people go into Toronto being like, I'm going to just work as hard as I can and do all these things without building that network. And I was like that when I first moved here for a good 3 years. All I did was audition 3-4 times a week for whatever I could find, and just like worked outside of that so I could have money, and just like really hustled. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think a big part that I was missing was the heart of me, you know. And I'm a very empathetic and caring person, that like having people in my life that I can care for is a very big part of me. So I did put forth that effort to be like, okay, now I'm like actually going to make relationships. Who are the people that I want to keep in my circle? And I have a giant circle in Toronto, which is great because it's such a big city. You can be very isolated. So I think a lot of my highs are having those friends where I'm like texting, like, I just want to text him, I don't know what to do. And then they call me like, Holly, you're better than this, you deserve respect. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Yeah.
It's interesting because we the physical beings around people is not there right now. We have to separate from each other. And as far as this comes out of it, what do you want to see come out of this?
Oh gosh. I mean, I hope that people are a lot more compassionate after this, you know, because this is something that we're all in together. Whereas like wars in, you know, Yemen are active and happening in society, and we're completely ignorant to it because it's not us. It's not about us. And so many people are just, you know, don't think about that. I included, like, I don't follow the news for that reason. And I'm ignorant in that sense, and like that's not great, but I really hope that this kind of brings people together on this fact that like we all live through this together, and like once we get out of it, we can come closer in that. And even I've noticed when I've gone outside for walks, you know, and you know, you're 6 feet away from people or more because I don't know them, so I'm not getting closer. But people are a lot more willing to have conversations because they're just starving for any sort of connection, which, you know, I think lacks a lot in Toronto because it's such a go, go, go place. You're like, if you're not in my world, I don't care, I'm going. Especially in the restaurant industry, like so many people just treat restaurant staff terribly and don't think of them as people. And I see that. I've been working in customer service for over 12 years. So it's just like, I hope that we come out of this with more compassion. And also I hope that it significantly lowers the rate of Toronto housing. That's my other hope.
Yeah, you know what, I think I think the common thread of everybody that I've interviewed so far has said that we come out more compassionate and kinder. Like that's the goal, right? And like for myself, it was kind of like the adjustment because I'm go, go, go person. And you're like myself, you're like me. Like your mind is going 100 miles an hour, and how am I going to be creative and all that kind of stuff, right? So it was killing me for 2 weeks. It was killing me because I'm going, I need people to have this happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I can't do this by myself. And this is going to run itself thin too. Of just communicating with people through the computer. It's going to run itself thin because we're going to be seriously want to have that aura of people around us. You know, like that feeling of people around us. So I'm hoping that when we get that, we're not paranoid and we're feeling good about it, but we also so appreciate that human connection more. You know, that's my hope. That's my hope. Like so for moving forward and all the goals that you've got going for you, do you find the time you had to reset is making you a different person?
Probably. I mean, I'm hoping that I come out of this and like actually take time for myself now. Ideally, that's the hope. Yeah, and I mean, I've adjusted quite well to whatever this is, in a sense of like now it's just I wake up and I'm like, all right, now what can I do today? There's so many options. I just can't go outside. Yeah, so it's definitely put me in a different place because before I'd be like, I wake up and be like, okay, what do I plan? This. Okay, now I need to prepare this and grab this and do this. And like, I mean, I'm eating a lot better now because I'm at home instead of just skipping meals. And, you know, I'm actually saving a lot more money, which is good.
Me too.
Yeah, I think it's made me a less anxious person for sure. Like I actually mentioned that I stopped biting my nails, which I didn't even know I was doing before. But
Me
like,
too.
yeah, it's just because I'm less anxious because I don't have that load of things. So, yeah.
So I think that's what I'm trying to say is that sometimes we needed the sense of calm. I think we need a sense of to be, just to be. you know, instead of always pieces of ourselves outside everywhere, and it's all out there, and we don't even bring it back, you know. It's like something's over there and something's over there, and when we have the chance to internalize a little bit more and to realize that, okay, it's okay for you to slow down for a bit and to refuel. And because I know myself, I'm going to be crazy again when this all happens again, and I'll be anxious for it. But I think I also learned a big deal about myself, that I need a day off, one day off.
Yes, one day off a week, Denise.
I know 7 days a week is just, it's driving me crazy. I have to be honest. I'm looking so forward to Sunday, because I got myself scheduled till tomorrow. Sunday is a day where I don't do anything. I stay in my jammies. I watch Netflix all day, and I just and have a good meal, and I don't even care what I eat. You know, it's one of those days where you cheat and you have fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's the what I've been wanting for a long time, but I felt guilty about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a lot of artists. I'm sure you're getting a lot of that feedback from a lot of people you're Zooming with right now.
Yeah, because I'm like a 24/7 girl. If anybody needs anything, they can call me on text and send me emails, and I'm there.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm just like always on my phone, just in case someone needs something, or like I need to, like, even with auditions, I get auditions the day before. Like I've had one of the commercials I shot, I got the audition at 10 p.m. for 10 a.m. the next day. And I was already out at karaoke, and I was like, well, I'm just going to enjoy this because I'm not going to go home. And so I showed up to the audition. I hardly remember it because I was just so tired and hungover. Ended up booking it, which is great. But again, like, I'm just so used to having my phone on me all the time, because I'm like, what if I get an audition? What if I need this thing? What if someone calls me? Like, it's just, and it creates a lot of anxiety that I don't think is necessary, and I can chill out a bit more.
Do you know what I've noticed too? YouTube's a very handy tool.
Yeah.
I learned some great tutorials from that YouTube. I was always bugging Thomas, because Thomas always goes on YouTube all the time, and he watches all the musicals, and he's a knowledgeable guy about everything. And I'm thinking, why does he have the time? No, I've got the time.
Now you got the time. Watch those musicals, Denise.
I love, but I'm also thinking about things I could do to make it better.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, because it's easy. It is a resource that people don't use well unless you're like a YouTuber, and even then, it's hard to find that niche of what that is for you.
Yeah. No, I'm finding that's kind of like what I'm going towards. Any new shows that you've been watching?
Ooh, shows. I'm rewatching 30 Rock, which I haven't watched since I first watched it, and you know, Tina Fey is obviously a very big part of me, and then. You know, just in general, I would always recommend Fleabag on Amazon Prime, because Phoebe Waller-Bridge is also a big inspiration for me, because her show started out as a one-person show that got turned into.
You said it's called Fleabag?
Fleabag. Have you never seen it?
No, I have not.
Oh my God, Denise, you have to watch Fleabag. Okay, it's on Amazon Prime.
I'm writing it down in my book. Fleabag. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, but it started out as a one-person show, and I actually have the script from the original show, and it's interesting to see how that's translated onto the screen, because a lot of the words are the same, but it's a different medium. So it's interesting to watch, because it's ideally what I want to do with my shows. So yeah.
Well, that's going to say that, because that's what you're going through, is that transformation, right? That's a big thing for you, though, to take something that you want, you own, and seeing it interpreted by somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like all the 10 by 10 plays that are down here, you know, and then somebody writes a play, and then all of a sudden somebody goes and does a direct, and you're going, I've never done that.
Yeah.
You know? Or that's an interesting concept. I never would have thought of that. Yeah. Like there's a greatness to it, and there's also a very much of a selfish way about it. I can imagine, you know, to give it up, it's like a baby, right?
Yeah.
And to give it to somebody's hands to interpret it the way they see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have creative flow in it? If you had this, would you have all the say in what goes into the content of the show?
Ideally, that's what I would want, but I also know that's not reality. Like, I know a lot of people who've brought things to networks, picked up, and then don't have any of that. I think the main thing for me would just be like, I would like the absolute, like, no, you're not going to produce this for me, is if I wasn't cast in it, because it's a very personal piece, and it's impossible for me to think of it with anyone else.
That's what I was going to say. Would you be able to be casted in your own show?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. That would be like the best. And not only would you have to be a commercial, then you have a TV show, and I'll be going, oh my God, I know her.
Oh, you're too nice.
I know Holly. Her and I are madhouse dates, you know.
Yes. Oh man, that was so good.
But you know, like the reason the reason why I wanted to do this in the first place is this is really a very important thing that everyone's in different stages in their lives, right? And I think it's really important for everybody to see how everyone's getting through it and how we're going to persevere through this, right? And so I just want to leave you with a final thought. I'm going to give you that and your hopes and dreams and your hope the message that you like to give to somebody.
My message that I want to give to somebody?
Yeah, just give to anybody, just advice of some sort.
I would just say, like, remember why you are an artist. Like, take that time right now to realize, like, how lucky we are to even be in a country like Canada, where we have the freedom of speech, and we're allowed to do those things, which is insane. The career that we've chosen is insane, but it's a lot of hard work. And so I think that takes over a lot. As you're saying, we're constantly go, 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 but do remember, like, at the core, what it is that is the reason you're an artist. And for me, it's inspiring others. Like, that is the core of my artistry. Like, I want to be able to make something, someone watches and it goes, yeah, I can do that. Or like, thank you for sharing my voice.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Things that you think that that you struggle with that you sort of overcome. Is there anything like that?
Working with people. I'm a very much, like, I do my own thing, only because, like, in college specifically, we'd have projects where I did the entire thing and would have my co-project person be like, oh, Holly's on my thing, so she'll do it. And I just hate that. So I got into a mode of, like, I'm just going to do everything, which you can definitely see it was an issue with my web series, Female Therapy, because I did everything except for direct and the crew stuff, but, like, everything else I did. And so now being able to step back and allow myself to give creative control to other artists in something that I've written, like even with Drink of Choice, I brought on a director. Jess was my stage manager. My producer, Sarah, took over a lot of that, the stuff that I'm used to doing. And I just was like, it's not my problem, or like, not problem, but like, I'm not supposed to be worried about this because that's not my job. So yeah, being able to kind of overcome that, which has been very hard.
Basically, you're saying you're learning not to be such a control freak.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, thank you.
I'm terrible at delegating. I'm the worst at delegating. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, if your name's on it, you really, really want it to be your touch on it too as well, right? So at the end of the day, you're overviewing everything and you're making sure it works. But that's another thing too, is trusting the people that you're around to make sure that they you know that you trust them, so they know they're going to be in there for the right reasons, and you're going to have faith in that, right?
Exactly.
So basically, at the end of the day, is that you need to surround yourself with the best people in the world, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, which is why I'm surrounded by you, my friend.
Yes.
What a great segue. I should do this as a living. Anyway, I love you, Holly. Thank you so much for doing this. I just, you know, sending hugs all the time. Love, 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 love you. Have a great day, sweetheart.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.